South Asian Buddhist art. Welcome. This is our virtual tour of what the San Francisco Asian Art Museum has to offer. We will guide you through a few, mainly 5, different types of Buddhist art that will range around South Asia and South Asian Buddhist art. Welcome. This is our virtual tour of what the San Francisco Asian Art Museum has to offer. We will guide you through a few, mainly 5, different types of Buddhist art that will range around South Asia and Tibet. From South Asia, we will mainly talk about Nepal and Pakistan. We will also like to display 2 galleries within the Asian Art Museum that correlate closely with the pieces we will show on later. First, we have Gallery 12, which is on the 3rd floor and holds artworks from the Himalayas and the Tibetan Buddhist world. This department mainly curates from Tibet, Nepal, Mongolia, Bhutan, and China. Most of the objects are bronze and lacquer sculptures that range from the 12th century up to the 20th century. There are also 150 paintings that rotate twice per year within this exhibit. Bronzes and paintings were created for the practices of Vajrayana, which in Buddhism marks transition from the Mahayana throughout Buddhist ideas individual's life, or historic Buddhism, but also includes elements of Hinduism, Taoism, and Bon in this department as well. Second, we have galleries 1 through 6 on the 3rd floor, which hold works from South Asia. Included, but not limited to, are portraits of Indian rulers, embodiments of spiritual powers of Hindu deities, to contemporary artists. It features artworks created from over a period of 2,000 years in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and India. There are multiple paintings, sculptures, photographs, and decorative objects made of silver, jade, ivory, and other precious metals. It also holds sacred sculptures from Gandhara, an ancient kingdom where the ideas of Buddhism interconnected with Rome and Greece, along with other medieval kingdoms of eastern and southern India. Now, that was just a quick summary of what the Asian Art Museum has to offer, and hopefully spike your interest to check it out once the exhibits are up and running again. But for now, please enjoy what we have to share with you regarding art from South Asia. First off, we have the head of Bodhisattva, who is someone who seeks awakening, or is also known as an individual on the path to becoming Buddha. This term was used to refer to the original Buddha, who was originally known as Siddhartha Gautama, but was later on known as Shakyamuni, also known as the Enlightened One. Bodhisattva are more known as richly dressed Buddhas, and are given that aura to represent Buddha's life before he became known as the Enlightened One. The origin of this piece is from Pakistan, or back then known as the ancient regions of Gandhara. Its date is approximately 300 to 500 BC. Its dimensions is height in 15 inches and width of 13 inches. Material used was stucco, which is a plaster that at first is wet and then slowly hardens into a dense solid. Now, as I said before, this is the head of Bodhisattva. However, in this image of the head, you can't tell how richly decorated the sculpture may have been due to its damage. But the fact that it is Buddhist art is easily distinguishable because of the few iconographies that are present. First, we have the elongated ears, which show evidence to his princely past due to wearing heavy jewelry. The smoothness of the sculpture skin also tells us that this bust is Buddha, along with the small details on the top of the head that seem like hair. That pattern and shape of hair is connected to Buddha or any subtype that represents the ideology of Buddha. Now, multiple heads of Bodhisattva can be found around Gandhara, now known as Pakistan, that most likely would have been part of a larger sculpture piece. However, they are mainly collected as damaged pieces. Some come out better than others. Now, the concept of Bodhisattva can be found in many different areas of Buddhism pertaining to different deities. Another example that we'll be looking at is Tara.
The deity Tara is known as a female Bodhisattva. She chose to stay female instead of being reborn as a man because she knew that there was no difference between male and female within enlightenment. Throughout her female lives, she vowed to help others reach enlightenment through the transcession of that duality. She has since been known as the deity who protects and aids other Buddhists on their journey. There are many different versions of the Tara, but one of the most commonly referred to is the green Tara. The green Tara represents compassion in action, compassion being shown through her hand gestures and their meaning, and action being shown through the positioning of her leg, always ready to act. Here we have two examples of the green Tara, one from Nepal and one from Tibet. The representations may seem similar, but in their own ways they are quite different. For instance, both sculptures are made of metal, but the one from Tibet is made of gilded copper, while the one from Nepal is made of gilded bronze. This representation of the green Tara not only differs from the one from Tibet, but also many other representations, as it shows her with her right hand in the gesture of blessing, which represents wisdom and teaching, instead of her typical gesture of gift-giving, which represents her spiritual attainment and compassion towards others, which we do see in the green Tara from Tibet. Now, it may be that the statues were simply mirrored, and therefore this interpretation is simply a mistake. But still, it exists, therefore it must be considered. Even though the change may seem minor in appearance, the meaning of the piece has changed drastically nonetheless. This comes to show that even though countries close in distance that practice the same things and believe in the same deities can still have some differences based on their own interpretations. Other than the beautiful stone and metal sculptures we have shown you so far, the Asian Art Museum includes tapestries which often depict Buddhist mandalas. Mandalas are diagrams of the cosmos, and they are used as an aid for meditation. It is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional place, in which a specific deity can be visualized and therefore help a meditator by sending forth their power. Mandala designs and style can differ depending on the specific meaning that can be interpreted through who or what and how it is portrayed. People around the world can change the look of the mandala slightly, but often Buddhist mandalas share many of the same characteristics and styles. Here we have a mandala of the Buddhist deity Chanda Maharoshana from Nepal, and a mandala of the Buddhist deity Ujnisha Siddhartha from Tibet. The mandala from Tibet represents the invisible goddess of the white parasol, otherwise known as Siddhartha Aparajita. She has 1,000 eyes and 1,000 arms to watch over and protect people from natural catastrophes, disease, and more, making her a compassionate protector. In the mandala from Nepal, we are shown a blue figure holding a sword and a rope, who I believe to be Akala, the immovable. Known as one of the more wrathful deities in Buddhism, he is fiercely determined to make everyone Buddhist by cutting ignorance with his sword and using his rope to tie up non-believers and those who refuse to become enlightened. Although terrifying, he is viewed as a strong protector of wisdom. Although they both stand as protective deities for Buddhism, they achieve their title through very different means, which therefore changes the meaning and effect the mandala may have for a meditator. Throughout these two tapestries, we can see that they both do indeed share the basic design elements for deity mandalas, Both consist of an arrangement of geometric shapes in which the specific deity can be found at the center of. There is also the color palette, which is very similar between the two. We see the use of the 5 main colors used all throughout Buddhism: blue, black, white, red, green, and yellow, which have meanings of their own. At first glance, they may look the same because of these shared aspects, yet they hold very different meanings because of the specific deity at the center and how they are represented within the mandala itself, as well as who they are surrounded by, be it different Buddhas, deities, guardians, demons, or monks. Through these comparisons, we hope that you see that although Buddhism may take different forms and interpretations through artwork, the general practice and main ideologies within the religion stay the same for the most part, at least within South Asia.
Well, thank you for watching our virtual museum. We hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from it. Now, we give you the resources and the people that helped us create this gallery. So first of all, this video was made by Vanessa Rodriguez Hernandez and Carla Hernandez. But we also had assistance from the Asian Art Museum Online Gallery, the San Francisco Computer Lab, Basement Floor, Khan Academy, Arts Humanities for Arts of Asia, and Bodhisattva Maitreyi. We also had help from the Encyclopedia Britannica for the Bodhisattva, Vajrayana, and the Buddhist goddess Tara. We had assistance from the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive, the Victorian and Albert Museum, iconography of the Buddha. We had help from Inside the Himalayas, Buddhism in Nepal, Buddha Statues, Asian Art Catalog Akala, and help from the Tibetan Buddhist monks of Diprang Lusling Meditation and Science Center. And this concludes the end of our virtual museum. Thank you for listening and watching, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We hope you learned a lot from South Asian Buddhist art.